Hello, my little mathematicians. Today, we're going to take a look at VL-725 of using proportions to solve problems. Um, Remember that a ratio is a comparison of two quantities, and a quantities is just a fancy way of saying a way of comparing two different things, such as like cats to dogs, apples to oranges, and so on. A proportion is where we take two ratios and we set them equal to each other. Okay, so we have, a ratio here and another ratio here, and we set them equal to each other. And ratio is just a fancy way for a fraction. So it's basically how do we make this fraction equivalent to this fraction? And when we go to set it up, we use our word problem and we set it up in a way that's consistent. We're like, the same thing is on the top and the same thing is on the bottom for both of your different ratios. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a shot. So the first example says a recipe calls for 2 sticks of butter for every 5 tablespoons of sugar. So we are going to do the ratio of butter to sugar. Okay, so you have butter to sugar. And initially it said the recipe calls for 2 sticks of butter for every 5 tablespoons of sugar. Okay. But then they're like, okay, well, what if instead Maya wants to do 8 sticks of butter? Then how many tablespoons of sugar is she going to need? Okay, that's what we're going to try to figure out. Notice how I put the 8 here on top because it was talking about butter and we want the ratio to be consistent of butter to sugar. Well, if this ratio or fraction needs to be equivalent to this, what did you do to the 2 in order to become an 8? Always move towards the direction of your unknown. Since this is what I want to solve, how would this become this? Well, how did the 2 become an 8? If we multiplied it by 4. So then let's multiply that 5 by 4, and 5 times 4 is 20. And then you can see this ratio is equivalent to this ratio because 8/20ths can reduce to 2/5. If this is like, find the error type problem, it says Maya's little sister said that 11 tablespoons of sugar are needed for 8 sticks of butter. So she says if you need 8 sticks of butter, then you should probably do 11 tablespoons of sugar. And her reasoning was that, well, if the recipe called for 2 sticks of butter and she needs 8 sticks of butter, since it's a difference of 6, let's add 6 to 5, and then that would call for 11 sticks of butter. And she's asking you, am I right? And you're going to say, no, she is not correct. Why is that? Because if she uses 8 sticks of butter, she'll need 20 tablespoons of sugar. And why is that? Because we still want the ratio to remain consistent of a 2-to-5 ratio. So when for every 2 sticks of butter, we want 5 tablespoons of sugar. So we want to keep it in that same ratio. And that's why that one isn't correct. So in order to create ratios, we're either going to multiply or divide both the top and bottom number by the same thing. Okay, let's go ahead and try to solve some of these ourselves. Remember, you're always welcome to try it. Pause the video, try it yourself, and then unpause it and see how you did. Okay. This first one says Yusan was training for a race. It took him 48 minutes to run 8 miles. So 48 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to do minutes here because that's what it gave me first. And 48 minutes goes with 8 miles. Now, what's nice about this when we're doing proportions is we don't have to worry so much about what goes on the top and bottom as long as we remain consistent. The first sentence usually goes together. It's the first ratio. And then the second sentence is what we're going to use to solve for the second part. So it says at this rate, how long will it take for him to run 16 miles? Well, where do you think that 16 is going to go? On the top or bottom? Hopefully you said on the bottom because the 16 was talking about miles and we put miles on the bottom. So if we want to remain consistent, that's where we should put it. And then what are we solving for? We're solving for how long it's going to take, and that would be the number of minutes. Always move towards your unknown. So let's go towards the unknown. What do you do to the 8 to get the 16? You would multiply by 2. So do that times 2, and 48 times 2 is 96. So it's going to take 96 what? Minutes. And that's another nice thing is it's kind of a built-in check. The unit you're solving for is right here, like across from your X, and it should answer the question that you were being asked. And minutes answers the question of how long it'll take. Okay, my next one says, Amelia read 10 books in 4 weeks. So we have the number of books you read, which in this case was 10, to how long it takes, which was 4 weeks. Then it says, okay, if she keeps reading at the same rate, how long is it going to take for her to read 35 books? Where should I put that 35? Where do you think? Hopefully you said on top because it's talking about the number of books and books was on top. Okay. Always move towards the direction of your unknown. So go that way. 10 times what, is 35. Well, if you do 35 divided by 10, you'll see that that's 3.5. So I'm going to go times 3.5 to get that. So multiply this by 3.5, and 3.5 times 4 is 14. So how long is it going to take to read 35 books? It's going to take 14 weeks if she keeps reading at that same pace of 10 books every 4 weeks. All right. If you haven't tried any yourself yet, make sure you pause the video, try it yourself, and then unpause it and check to see how you did. Okay. Number 3 says Malcolm has a photo that is 6 inches wide. Okay, so we're doing the width, which was 6, to 4 inches tall. So the width to the height, or how tall it is, and that was 4 inches. He wants to enlarge the image, and so if you enlarge it, you want to keep it in the same ratio onto a giant sign that is 75 inches wide. So where should I put that 75? On top, because it's talking about how wide it is. And then if it's 75 inches wide, how tall do you need to make it be so that it's not distorted? Well, always go towards your unknown. So let's go that way. And 6 times what is 75? To figure that out, you could do 75 divided by 6, and you get 12.5. Okay, so then let's multiply this 4 times 12.5, and you get 50. So it's going to be 50 inches tall if it's 75 inches wide in order to keep the same ratio and not become distorted. Okay, last one for this page says the ratio of Chex pieces to pretzels. Okay, so Chex pieces to pretzel pieces in Chex Mix is 5-2. Well, it's this to this, so whatever comes first, that number's talking about the Chex pieces, and whatever comes second, that's what's talking about the pretzel pieces. Okay, so Chex would be 5 for every 2 pretzel pieces. So then if it says in a snack bag that there is 70 Chex pieces, that would go on top. And then they're asking how many pretzel pieces would there be. Again, always go towards the unknown, so go that way. 5 times what is 70? Or 70 divided by 5 is 14. So that means 5 times 14 is 70. So then 2 times 14 is 28, which means there's going to be 28 pretzel pieces if there was 70 Chex pieces in that bag. All right, let's see if we can figure out some more of these. They might get a little bit tougher. Okay, this one says there are 45 kids trying out for the youth soccer team. the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 5. Okay, so we have boys first, so that's the first number, and girls second, so that must be the second number. Okay, so boys, which is 4, to girls, which is 5. And then they're like, how many girls are on the tryout? Okay, so I'm solving for how many girls. And you're like, well, what else did they tell me? They told me that there's 45 kids. So is 45 talking about the number of boys? It's not. It's talking about the total amount. So this means that they want, basically, they're talking about two different things. So, like, the total amount in regards to how many girls there are. Okay. Well, we don't know how many girls there's going to be when there's a total of 45 kids. But we do know right here from this ratio that when there's 5 girls, how many total people or kids are there? Okay, well, there's 5 girls and 4 boys for a total of 9 kids. Okay, again, when there's 5 girls, there's a total of 9 kids playing, right? So then how many girls would there be when there's 45 total kids? Okay, always go towards the direction of your unknown right here. So 9 times what is 45? 9 times 5. So then 5 times 5 would be 25. So that means that when there's 45 total kids, there's going to be 25 girls, because we know that there's 5 girls for every 9 total kids. There you go. That one was pretty tough, huh? Okay. See if you can figure out the next one. It's kind of similar. Okay, you unpause the video and you're back with us. It says a bag has 64 marbles, and all the marbles are either red or gold. If the ratio of red, so that would be the first number, to gold, so that would be the second number, is 3 to 1, then how many of the marbles in the bag are gold? Okay, so they gave me, for this part, they said that they want to focus on the amount of gold and the total amount of marbles in the bag. So we don't know how many are gold when there's a total of 64. However, we do know that the ratio of red to gold is 3 to 1. So when there's 1 gold, there's how many total marbles? There's 4 total marbles. Okay, so then go towards the direction of your unknown. So go this way. 4 times what is 64? 4 times 16. So then 1 times 16 would be 16. So there's 16 gold marbles when there's 64 total marbles. All right, that one was pretty tough. Hopefully you did okay on that one. If not, there's still time to learn. Okay, this next one, we're going to use this table to help me answer the question. And it says, Mark's Mixed Muffin sells packages of assorted muffins, and each package comes with the following amount of muffins. 4 banana, 6 blueberry, 2 bran, and 6 poppy seed. So Ava told her assistant that in order to purchase a few packages of muffins for employees, her assistant manager needed to purchase 144 muffins. So how many of the muffins were bran muffins? Okay. So they told me the total amount of muffins, and then we're focusing on how many of those are bran muffins. Okay, so we don't know how many of them are going to be bran muffins if there's a total of 144, but from the package, we know that if there's 2 bran muffins, there's a total of how many muffins in the package. Well, that makes 10. 10 plus 2 is 12, and 12 plus 6 is 18. And yes, you include the 2 bran muffins because it's part of the overall package. Okay, so again, I added all of these, and that's the total amount when there's 2 brands. So these go together. So then we are going to use that ratio to figure out, okay, how many of them are brand if there were 144 total. Always move towards the direction of your unknown. So move towards the direction of your unknown, following the same suit. Okay, 18 times what is going to give you 144, or 144 divided by 18 is 8. Okay, so then let's multiply this by 8, and 2 times 8 is 16. So that means when there's 144 total muffins, 16 of them are going to be bran. Okay, last one. You got this. It says Levy wanted to have a painting of his beloved dog based off of this photograph. The dimensions of the photo are shown below. What is the length of the missing side? Okay, so if you have the width or the length and the height, okay, or we'll say base and height, okay, so the base to height of the original one, the base is 3 and the height is 5. So then if I want my new base to be 42, then my height, we don't know. So go towards the direction of the unknown. So go that way. 3 times what is 42? That would be 14. So then do 5 times 14, and you get 70, which means if you want the base to be 42, in order to keep the dimensions the same and not have it be distorted, your height needs to be 70 inches. Okay, so 70 inches high. And there you go. Hopefully you did fairly well, my little mathematicians. You got this.